Hello, everyone. We are live with the expert interview series. Thank you so much for being here and watching the videos in this series. Today, we have a great expert. I'm really excited to speak with her. Let me just tell you a little bit first about the online expert interview series. This series was developed so that people could get out of overwhelm because it's the last 3 months of the year, and I want you to start 2018 just with a lot of really great bite-sized tips. And so each expert comes on and talks about their subject of expertise, but they're going to give you a one tip or strategy that when you implement it, you're going to get an instant result. So I'm really excited. Let me introduce myself. My name is Lisa Meisels. I'm the host of this expert interview series, and I am the founder of my company, Famana, and the creator of the internationally acclaimed Empowered Living video show. I'm also an online visibility strategist, and I help entrepreneurs get visible, get clear, get confident, and really stare into the spotlight where they want to be so that they can share their big message with the world. I think a lot of people struggle with wanting to be visible, but they don't want to be seen because they've never really been in the spotlight. And so that's kind of what I help them do is get out of their shell and shine. So this is how this expert interview series is going to go down today. So I'll be introducing my guest and their topic, and then we can't see me. I do this all the time. Oh, hold on. I don't know why it's not showing any of us. It's not showing you either.
Oh no.
Oh no. Okay, one moment. Well, we've got Halloween going. It's not showing you. It's not showing. Well, here's our names. I don't know why our faces aren't being shown.
Oh, so I did my makeup for nothing.
I know. My hair's all nice and pretty. Okay.
Right? No worries.
There we go. Okay. We're good. I'm still frozen, but we're good. Okay, so reconvening here with how it's going to go down. So first, you get to see us, so you don't get to stare at a blank page. So I'm going to introduce my guest, the topic, and then we're going to really dive into the meat of it. And I like to ask my guests what their big why is, and so we're going to be hearing about that too. And the reason I do that is because I believe that when most entrepreneurs start out, even in their first couple years, because we're always expanding, right? They don't go deep enough into their why, and it keeps us stuck. So like if I were just to say, I just want to help people, that's what I really want, you have to go much deeper than that. So I just want to welcome Tracy Osbourne. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you. Tracy's going to be talking about delegating your way to six figures. And that's where we all want to be, right? We want to be able to get to six figures and be able to delegate the things that we don't love to do. So let me talk to you a little bit more about what Tracy does and get you to know her a little bit more. So she's going to be talking about delegating your way to six figures, how you can earn more money, get more time and freedom by delegating those things that you should not be doing. And I'm really interested to hear about that. Tracy Osbourne is the down-to-earth, barefoot and blue jeans CEO and founder of Empowered Fempreneurs. I love that. A company whose sole mission is to empower women on a global scale to grow their inner power and create strong, powerful businesses through trainings, events, and online memberships. Tracy, welcome. So great to have you, and I love what you're doing. And I know that you've got some new things going on, and we'll be talking about that, towards the end of the interview.
Sure.
But let's go into your big why. Why is it, I just read a little bit about why, but what started you on this path? Like, what got you really super interested, and what does it mean to you personally doing this business?
So for the past 10 years, I've actually been a virtual assistant and
Okay.
built a six-figure virtual assistant company. There's a little bit of echo on my end. Are you hearing that?
No.
Okay. As long as I'm the only one hearing it, we're good. So I built a six-figure business as a virtual assistant and have been doing that for 10 years. And then in July, I actually was sitting down to write my next book. I took the first 2 weeks of July off to write my next book, and it was going to be called So You Want to Work From Home. And it was going to be an online, or not an online, but a guide, a step-by-step guide on how to create a business, online business working from home. And I sat down to write this, and I just stared at the blank screen for like a week. I couldn't write. Nothing would come out except garbage. Nothing sounded good. I was like blocked. And I thought, okay, I've got a week to write this freaking book. I need to get my butt busy. So I took the weekend off, and the following Monday I said, all right, we're going to set up the ambiance, so I got some new age music, and I started burning some incense, and I'm like, okay, let's, just clear my mind and try and get rid of this block. And so I'm sitting there thinking, looking at my computer, and I'm thinking, okay, this book is for mompreneurs. What's another word for mompreneur? Because mompreneur is just getting overused right now. Mm-hmm. And fempreneur jumped into my head, and I went, ooh, I like that. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, empowered fempreneur jumped into my head, and I went, ooh, I like that even more. Next thing I knew, I was creating a brand new company. Yeah. I spent the entire day working on creating a brand new company, and sending my business manager email after email after email. And she was just like, it's about time you finally broke free of your block and did this. She's been kind of expecting it. So my why behind building this whole brand new company is that as women, number one, we tend to put ourselves last.
Yep.
And we put our hopes and dreams, our self-care, everything last, and we take care of everybody else. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times our own inner power, our own inner strength kind of goes away, or it gets diminished. And we stop, thinking that we can do things and that we're good at doing whatever, and we're powerful, and, all of that good stuff that comes with self-confidence. Yeah. And so the whole purpose behind Empowered Entrepreneurs is to help women remember that they're powerful, that they're strong, that they're independent. They don't need to be reliable, on a man or on another person to take care of them. They can do this themselves. And so there's a lot that's going to be happening with the company, but starting out, we're going to start out with business tools and things like that. With the membership group, we'll have a lot of good business resources, a private community where we network with each other and help each other build our businesses and push past our limits to reach and get to that next chapter in our lives. But the real deep why is because I really want to help women and children who have been victims of domestic abuse and who are homeless. And in building Empowered Fempreneurs, not only will that give me the platform to be able to create the nonprofit side, which will eventually go to helping women, domestic abuse victims and all of that. I'd like to one day create a halfway house and, all kinds of stuff. But it will also allow me to have the tools and resources that I can give to these women and say, okay, now let's see what skills you have. Let's see what we can do with what we've got, and let's build you a business. And so that's kind of my whole why.
Now, is that close to your heart for a specific reason?
Yeah. For one thing, I've always wanted to work with homeless and to help homeless. That old question, if you won the lottery, what would you do with it? And my first thought was always I wanted to build some kind of a halfway house to help homeless people transition back into reality. And then, of course, my second one is my animal rescue, which I actually ended up doing and then closing down a few years ago. But yeah, I've been a victim of domestic abuse multiple times, rape, sexual harassment, sexual assault, So I've been homeless with kids, stuck on welfare for years. So yeah, it's very near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes the why even stronger. When you have something that's totally heart connected to your past, your challenges, you've been through it, and you know what it takes to get out of it, and so that just makes you so much more of a an expert leader for that tribe. So I love that. I love what you're doing. So let's dive into your strategy or your tip that you have about delegating into, so we don't have to do what we don't want to do.
Oh, I think I lost you. Are you still there? There you are. Hey, I can see you now.
Tracy, are you there?
I am here. Are you?
Okay, well, I believe we are still live. And so Tracy's probably going to jump back on. Let me just see if I can find her. Meanwhile, if you're watching, if you have any questions about delegating, about how to create a business that is really heart-centered, and when I say heart-centered, I mean connected to your deep why, connected to your heart, just let me know, and we will get those questions answered. So let me see if Tracy's able to jump back on, I hope. All
right. Let me go out. Can you hear me now?
There you are. Yay.
Okay. I never went anywhere. You went away and then you came back and then you couldn't see or hear me. I'm like, I'm right here.
Oh, that's weird. I was talking the whole time.
I know. I was listening. I went over to Facebook. I'm like, I'm still here.
Okay. Well, the speed test looks fine. So I'm not sure what's going on. But anyway, for everybody, including you, Tracy, I apologize for any problems that we're having with this connection. I got speed, so I'm not sure what's going on. Let's just go ahead and dive in, though.
Going. Yeah, it's technology. It's going to mess with us. All right. So we're going to delegate our way to six figures.
Yeah.
All right. Number one, you need to figure out what it is that you're doing that you shouldn't be doing. Yeah. And most likely it's a lot. Basically, if it does not directly tie into bringing in income, you shouldn't be doing it. Yeah. So these are managing your inbox, sending out your newsletters, constantly posting stuff on social media, creating graphics, updating your website, all that stuff that has to get done doesn't have to get done by you.
Yeah.
You need to be spending that time doing other stuff. So what I always teach people is, follow yourself around for a minimum of 2 days, up to a week if you can, and just set a timer. Every 20 minutes, write down what you've done in that 20 minutes. And when you're done, you're going to have a really comprehensive list that is going to show you how to get started delegating, where you can get started delegating. It's also going to show you where you're spending a lot of time that you shouldn't be, like maybe too much time on Facebook or too much time in your inbox or, things like that. So, so that's definitely your starting point. And then you need to figure out, the kind of virtual assistant that you want to hire. If you just need help with admin stuff, then you just want a general admin. If you need techie help, you want a techie BA, that kind of thing.
Tell us a little bit about what an admin does and what a techie does, so people know the difference.
Sure, absolutely. So a general BA is usually somebody who is fairly new into the virtual assistant industry. They're probably coming from corporate, or they might be, a mom who wants to stay home and start making some more money. Doesn't really have a whole lot of technical skills, but they can manage your email, they can manage your calendar, they can make travel reservations, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The basic admin things. They can manage your clients. If you're a coach, this is great. They can send coaching reminders or the coaching replay links or, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
The techie VA is exactly that. They handle all the tech. So they're building your sales pages, they're building your funnels, they're putting all your pieces together and making sure everything is working right, sending out your newsletters, all of that.
Yeah, and then there's also the VA, and then there's also like the bigger online business manager piece that
takes, an online business manager or OBM is usually somebody who has been a VA for a few years and has that skill set to go farther and deeper into your business. So these are people who will come in and they're going to manage your team. They're going to manage the processes. They're going to create strategies for you. My OBM does so much for me. They're watching that bottom line. They're trying to figure out why ads aren't working or why this, that, and the other isn't working. They're watching your analytics. They're basically your chief operations officer.
Yeah.
So,
and that's where you want to get to, right? That's the, like, you start with a VA handing out, delegating certain tasks that are not making you money.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually when you have a team, you can get an online business manager. Is that the way it goes?
Yeah, definitely. Online business managers start at around $1,500 a month for a retainer fee.
Mm-hmm.
So ideally, you need to be making high 5 figures or more, or 6 figures higher before you're ready for an OBM. Because the OBM doesn't actually do the work in most cases.
Right.
So you still need to have a VA or, your team. So I have a team. I have Mia who manages everything. I have a couple of tech VAs. I have a couple of copywriters. I have a graphic designer. So, I have a team that still does all the stuff for me, for my clients. And then Mia just manages and makes sure everything goes the way it's supposed to.
Now, let me ask you a question, because I know when people are just starting out, they are very afraid to delegate, because not necessarily because they want to do it themselves, but because they think that if they delegate, they're not going to make money. They're going to lose money. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a common fear. There's actually a couple reasons why people don't delegate. One, we're all control freaks, and nobody can do it better than we can. Myself included. I'm just as guilty. And and two, we're afraid that if we have to pay somebody, because VAs aren't cheap. You're looking at starting at $25 an hour for a general admin virtual assistant and going on up, right? So they're not cheap. And so that is a fear. And I call it growing pains. You get to that point where you have to hire out some help, or you're not going to grow anymore. You can't keep doing everything yourself. You cannot run a 6-7 figure business by yourself. You can't do it.
Right.
You've got to have that team. And eventually you're going to have to take that leap and hire somebody. And you can start small, just a couple hours a month, or, 2, 3, 5 hours a month, whatever you can afford. Start small, get your feet wet. And, as you start working with somebody, especially if you end up with the right virtual assistant who is just incredible, you're going to have a huge sense of relief. And you're actually going to end up making more money, because they're doing all the stuff that has to get done. And you're able to focus on sales and networking and managing your clients and customers, creating new products, creating new programs. So you're actually, in the long run, going to end up making a lot more money. And if, think about it this way. If let's say you're a coach, and a lot of coaches charge $100, $150 an hour for their services. If you're busy doing something that you could pay someone $25 an hour for, how much are you actually missing out on? Because that hour that you're working for $25 an hour, you could be making $150.
Yeah, no, that's such a good point. Now, let's go back to people that are just starting out online, that are getting, they're getting their feet wet. They maybe have a couple paying clients. at what point do you want to get somebody, a VA, and where do you want to start? Do you want to start with a social media manager? Do you want to start, where do you want to start?
So you definitely want to get help before you hit that overwhelm, before you hit that place in your business where you're working 15, 16 hours a day, and your to-do list is getting constantly longer than you can cross it off.
Yeah.
Balls are getting dropped. People are getting mad because you're not getting their work done, or the work is sloppy, or, whatever it is. Orders aren't being fulfilled. You don't want to get to that point, because that's when you start losing money, and your sanity. It affects your health,
reputation.
It affects your reputation. It affects your health. It affects your family. It affects everything.
Yes.
So ideally, you really want to get to, when you start feeling stressed and you start feeling that sense of overwhelm, those beginning feelings, that's when it's time to really say, okay, before I go any farther, we've got to get some extra hands on the team. Yeah. Where you want to start, it depends on your business. It depends on what you do and what you need. Social media managers are great. I find it's really hard for people to emulate you, and the ones that can are very expensive. A good social media strategist, you're looking at least $1,000 a month or more for them to implement social media for you. I would really honestly start with more the marketing, the task doing, that kind of thing, so that you can spend more time. That's one of Mia's goals for me, is that she wants to make sure that I'm not doing all the work, because I have a tendency to do that, so that I can focus my time on social media and building those relationships and generating more money.
Right.
So, honestly, I would start with more of the task type work than social media, especially if you're just new in business.
So things like uploading videos, or uploading a blog post, or, putting your emails into a newsletter, or automating your systems, or, whatever that might be. Yep. Those people can do it faster than you can if you're able to communicate. Now, I just want to pick your brain a little bit about the communication piece, because I think that's where the problem comes when you're a control freak. You know how to do these things, and you want them done, but you don't know how to communicate. So what's the best way to be able to be prepared to communicate to your VA and to find the right one for you?
I like to make videos. So when I'm putting my newsletter together, or I'm building a website, or whatever it is that I'm doing, I'll video it and say, that way I can talk through it. Okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. Use this font, use these colors, do this. This is the layout I like, etc. And that way you can just pass over this training video over to a VA and say, okay, my newsletter needs to go out. Here's how to do it. Or, creating written processes as well. Just step-by-step instructions. Step 1, go here. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do this. As far as finding the right VA, that's tricky. I actually have a free course that teaches you all about how to go into and find the right VA. But really quick, you want to kind of create your ideal virtual assistant like you would your target client. So you want to create the kind of person that you want to work with. What skills should they have? Where should they live? Are you okay with using overseas VAs? Do you just want somebody in the United States? That kind of thing. Create very detailed posts, because chances are you're probably going to put this out on Facebook. So you want to create very detailed posts. Who are you? What is your company about? What are you looking for? What are some of the things that you need done? About how many hours do you think you're going to need somebody? What is your budget? How should they contact you? Be very specific. And then, you just kind of go from there. Yeah,
and I think it's like going back. Most people have come from a job or a career background, and so it's just using those skills that you learn and transferring them to what you're doing here. It's like you're putting out a job offer to somebody.
To an extent. Now, I want to stop you right there really quick, because that is that employee-employer mentality. And we don't want to enter into a VA partnership with that mindset. Remember, they're business owners just like you.
Yes.
You need to treat them with respect, and you need to remember that they're not at your beck and call. They're not your secretary. You know, they're a partner in your business, and they are going to have the right VA will have a vested interest in making sure that your business succeeds, because as you succeed and grow, that's more money for them too. So,
right. And
you know, you want to go into this as this is a partnership. It's a relationship. I'm really good friends with most of my team. I've got a couple new people that I'm still getting to know, but you know, it's a relationship. I know about their kids. I know when their kids are sick. I know when they have to go to the hospital for something, or the doctor, or their dog is doing this. You know, they come to me and say, "Hey, my dog is sick. What do I do?" You know, so it's a relationship, and you have to nurture that.
Well, they're team members. They're team members, and I think, and that's probably the difference between just getting going onto Elance and picking, you know, somebody here and there for projects, is that you don't develop that. They don't have a vested interest in your business.
Yes and no. So I actually, when I was starting up, because I almost completely shut my business down in 2012. That's a whole different story. But when I started back up again, I did go on Elance as a VA. And I got some really great clients and worked with them for a month or so on Elance. And then we came off of Elance and continued our relationship off Elance. And we got very close. And, you know, worked together for quite a while. So, you know, in the beginning, it's just like any other relationship. You have to just kind of get to know them, test them out. It's like dating.
Yeah, right.
Basically, yeah.
That's great. So for the beginner person who's just starting to get into, you know, they want to be a six-figure earner, they want to, maybe they're still working and they're, you know, they've got clients on the side, a couple hours a week, 4 hours a week.
I'm sorry, you kind of cut out on there. You've got a couple clients on the side, and then what?
Yeah, how many hours a month would you start with a VA? And what would they be able to do?
So again, it really depends on what you need done, where you are with your business. Average. So the average business, somebody who's working in their business full time, probably making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, you probably are going to be looking at about 5 to 10 hours a month with a virtual assistant. And they can do a lot. They can do so much in that. You know, so don't let that price tag scare you. People will come to me, or when I was doing my VA work, and they would ask me how much it was, and they would freak when I told them, because it's a lot of money. I was not cheap. And so what I had to remind them was, okay, number one, how long does it take you to do your newsletter? I had one client, it took her like 2 or 3 hours a week to send out her newsletter. It took me a half hour.
Yeah.
You know, how long does it take you to do this? How long does it take you to do that? So not only am I saving them a ton of time, and because I'm experienced, I can do things much faster, much more efficient than they could, or than a new VA could. But I brought, you know, 10 years of experience in online marketing and online business to the table. So I could say, let's try this. This is what I tried somewhere else. This is what I've seen this person do, and it flopped, or it worked, or whatever. So we could strategize together.
Sure. Yeah. And that's the important, I think that's really a valuable piece of it. Well, this has been great information. Oh my gosh. Do you have any last tips that I didn't ask you?
No, you know, I think you asked me the majority of them. Yeah. So, you know, if anybody thinks of any other questions that they have, just give me a holler.
Yeah. And before we end, I do want to talk to you about, let's see, let me get your website up there. There you go. I want to talk about anything new that you might have coming up, anything new and exciting that's going on, any new product launches or anything?
Oh, okay. So I have a couple things. One is I'm just launching the Fempreneurs Club, which is my online membership site. Yeah. So I am actually accepting applications for people who want to beta test for me. And what that looks like is you come in for 3 months. It's a one-time $49 fee as opposed to the monthly rate. So you're going to be saving about half of what the monthly rate is. And you'll be giving me feedback, testimonies, and you're going to get a lot of value from it as well. So there's that. And then I'm also writing The Empowered Fempreneur, which is my upcoming book. It's going to be released in January. And I am looking for stories from women who have gone from hard knocks to high heels, or, whatever you want to call it. So people who have struggled in their lives, had something bad happen, husband tried to kill him, whatever it was. And now you're on top. You've made this strong business. You're unstoppable. I want those stories for the book. So if you're interested in any of those, please just, I'm all over Facebook. Just give me a shout and I'll get you the links for them.
Yeah, so Tracy Osbourne, and I put your website, the Empowered Fempreneurs website, up on the screen there so people can, I think frozen, but people can see that link.
Yeah, I see the link.
Yeah, so this has been really super helpful. I think a lot of people are, they want to delegate and they're afraid. So this has been great, and they can find more out about you and all of the things that you're doing, all of those great projects that you've got. Oh my gosh, you've got so much going on. So so at empoweredfempreneurs.com. And Tracy, I want to say thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. It's great to see you, meet you, and talk with you. And I feel like we can talk for a long time, but I wanted to make these short for the viewers. And thank you, viewers, for watching this. And there will be more upcoming expert interview series throughout the next couple months. So thanks so much. And I am going to go ahead and end the broadcast right now.
Bye.
So we'll see you guys later. Bye.